evening, everyone. Let our E911 board call to order. Would you please stand for the invocation? Oh, gracious Father, thank you for this day, Lord. Lord, we ask you to please direct us and guide us, oh Lord. Oh Lord, bless all the ones that standing underneath my voice in this room, oh Lord. Give them wisdom and knowledge, oh Father. Most of all, give them love, oh Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Follow me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions and deletions to the 911 board? Mr. Daniel?
No, sir.
Okay. Any guest and public comments? E911? Okay. Old business is none. New business. Approve the June 17th, 2024 minutes.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Clark. Second by Mr. Parker. Any discussions? Possible. There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Item 2, authorize payment of approved bills and accept the financial statement as of June the 30th, 2024. Year-to-date budget actual report prepared by Ms. Dees, CPA.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Parker, second by Mr. Baker. Any discussions? Ma'am?
Say G, I'm sorry.
No, not yet. No. This is the E911 board. If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Item 3, adopt the 2024 millage.
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Holmes,
Second.
second by Mr. Clark. Any discussions on the millage 2024? There's no discussion on the millage. Please vote. Motion passes. Are you good, Mr. Daniel? Would you like to elaborate on anything?
Good if you are here.
Don't want to elaborate?
Appreciate y'all showing up and
Getting it taken care of, huh?
taking care for me. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have any questions, contact me at any time. I'm there for y'all.
Yes. Got a motion by Mr. Parker to
Second.
adjourn. I got a second by Mr. Holmes. We adjourn, but at the moment, we're gonna have a glitch in the second meeting coming up.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Oh, we gotta wait.
Thank you, Daniel. Guys, for the glitch in the system, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to roll right into our regular meeting. Just roll on down to the announcements. Notice hereby given that at this meeting held on Monday, August the 19th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in this regular meeting place, Police Jury Meeting Room of the Police Jury Annex, 101 Franklin Street, Mansfield, Louisiana. The Police Jury of the Parish of DeSoto, State of Louisiana, plans to consider adopt a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held and Sales Tax District 1 of the Parish of DeSoto, State of Louisiana, to authorize the levy of the sales and the use tax therein. That's the announcements. And a call for additions and deletions to the agenda. Yes, I have two that will go underneath old business. First one is accept the request proposal for debris removal. That'll be on the old business.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker,
I second.
seconded by Mr. Holmes. Roll call vote, Mr. Clark.
Yay. Aye.
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 Ayes have it, so we'll add this to the old business.
1A.
Okay, the other one is old business, authorize the parish administrator to negotiate the purchase of 48.237 acres on the east side of Highway 171, Parish Road, 682, as it reads on the attachment appraisal in the town of Stonewall from DeSoto Land Holdings, LLC, for $440,000 for the construction in the new compactor site pending and approval from the town's planning, zoning commissions in town of Stonewall Council. Do I have a motion to add this on
So move.
to old business? Got a motion by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Holmes. Roll call vote, Mr. Baker.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Ayes have it, so we'll add that item to old business as well. Okay. Yes, and public comments. The first we'll have is Mr. Josh Sally's. Are you here? Yes, sir. Come right up, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good to see y'all again. It's been a while since I've been in one of y'all's meetings, but thank y'all for having us. Don't want to keep y'all too much here. Just wanted to take a few minutes and kind of go over an overview of the 4-H program in the parish. I want to introduce in the back, we have a summer intern with us this summer, Miss Trelby Goff. She's interning with us for 10 weeks to see if she wants to go into extension when she graduates from college. Also want to introduce Miss Amy Altum. She's our new 4-H agent. She started back in March. She's hit the ground running within 2 months. She was spending a week at summer camp with right at 40 kids from DeSoto Parish and been running ever since. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Amy real quick.
Hello there.
Hi.
Such an honor to be here and meet all of you. I lived in DeSoto Parish for about 1.5 years. Like you said, I've had this job for about 4 months, and I'm really enjoying it. Love the parish, love the 4-H program. I did kind of want to just tell you our plans for this upcoming year as far as 4-H goes. We are looking forward to building our enrollment in the 4-H program. We are looking to add new programs, or new project clubs, new activities. One of those that we are adding is a horse club. So if you do know any youngsters interested in horses, we'd love to have them come enroll in 4-H. It's going to be encompassing event. We've already got an arena scheduled to have monthly riding times and classroom sessions. So that's going to be a great opportunity. Also, a spring DeSoto horse show. So that's really exciting. Open to all breeds, all kids, 9 years old and up. We did go to Camp Grant Walker for a week. We spent a week at LSU during 4-H University, and I got to tell you, 2 of DeSoto Parish's own, out of 1,300 kids, Layla Fazale finished 4th in the child development contest, and then Sydney Hall finished 8th in the public speaking. So that was a really big honor for DeSoto Parish. And I'm sure, as many of y'all know, our shooting sports program, Team Louisiana, just won the national shooting sport competition. So that's really exciting. Also, we will be attending the Back to School Bash. So if you know anybody looking to enroll, we'll be there to sign kids up. But we are also having our own open house where kids can come down to the extension office and sign up for all the project clubs, sign up for 4-H. That's going to be August 24th, 10 to 2 at the extension office. And then we are trying this year a big push to have a huge fundraiser. August 10th, I don't know if you've seen it. We've been trying to publicize it pretty big. This large fundraiser will be an auction for live and silent auction items. We are looking for donations to that, so if you know any businesses or would like to donate to our live or silent auction, we're hoping that that fundraiser will support some of the big things we want to do with our club this year. So we're really looking forward to that. And I just want to leave you with this thought, but young people who are in 4-H or 2.3 more likely to be physically active, 2 times more likely to go to college, and 3.5 times more likely to give back to their community when they get older. So yeah, get those kids in 4-H.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a online register address
For
for the register for the horse?
yes, and I brought some flyers. Can I approach y'all? I didn't know. There you go.
Thank you.
So this is for the open enrollment and the horse program. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have any other questions?
No,
All right.
sir. Any other questions for any of the jurors?
Thank y'all for your support as always.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Sure. Absolutely. Get on there.
Okay, next up, guest and public comments, Ms. Katrina Wilson.
Hello, Katrina Wilson.
Hello.
Thank y'all for having me. I come on behalf of the agenda, about recommend authorizing the renaming of Wilson Road, AKA Neldon Private Drive, as Neldon Drive. The reason we're here, I am the great-granddaughter of M.T. Wilson. I have here with me, these are his grandkids, great-grandkids, and great-great-grandkids. We're here to protect his legacy. We're asking that the road remain Wilson Road. He lived to be 105 years old. He purchased this land in 1944 for us. And, you know, I have the deed to the land, I have the parcel listing, I have the DeSoto Parish assessor where it's originally Wilson Road. So we just ask you all's mercy to give y'all a little bit about my grandfather who left this legacy for us, that it remain Wilson Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Did y'all go, sir? Yes, sir. Okay. Did y'all go by 911 first, and to elaborate when this first transpired by changing of the road?
Did anyone have a chance to go by 911?
We didn't go by, but we called. When we called 911, they told us to contact someone here. I think it was Keith.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Keith. So it was on the agenda from July 1st, I believe, to get it changed from Nella, but they said that it was to be done in 2002, but it never changed until, what, 2 months ago?
Yes, I believe so.
But I believe the name was not supposed to be changed actually to Nella. They said that it should have still been Wilson Road, and another name should have been at the bottom. Nella.
I have no knowledge of that.
All we did was we saw a sign been changed and we never
Yeah,
knew what was
yeah.
going. That's how we found out about it.
And that was on the people that's living on the road, that's, I don't know their names, but,
That's who live on the road right now.
okay, well, it's more than one. Yeah, yes, it was, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So they was getting mails messed up, they couldn't get the mortgage in the mail, the notes and the insurance, and a lot of their bills started, getting behind. That's why we always thought that it was Wilson Road. Someone said it was private road. So it's 911 discretion to say that, but they said we already have names in Wilson Road in the system already. That's why that it became changed. But my record, sir,
But it's not a Wilson Road in Grand Canyon.
no, in DeSoto Parish.
I know, I'm saying, but
It's got to be in DeSoto Parish as a whole. Can't have two names of the same road.
For the last since 1949, what it's been, or whenever he bought the land, we always thought it was Wilson Road.
It's been Wilson Road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's
All
that.
the papers is showing Wilson Road.
Yes.
Now,
Right, exactly. My recommendation to y'all is to go back through 911 and maybe see, and maybe to add that Wilson/Nelson Road. Get with the property owners up there, such as y'allself and some more other people that live in there, and get with them and see, could y'all come to a agreement on that name there, and then bring it back to us and we can overturn it, or try to overturn it.
Okay,
That would be my recommendation.
okay, okay.
we're right,
Family
we
Hill
have
is,
no
we all-
problem
we
with
all
the
could
slash.
Yeah,
Right.
We have no problem with the slash,
Yeah.
of the name. Only problem I say is we got mortgages up there. I don't know how it would affect
Exactly.
our mortgages because we gotta pay them. That's
Right,
the only
exactly.
thing, because it's always been Wilson Road as I know it. I don't know who decided to change it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they decided to change it.
So,
They should change it.
from the jury recommendation, can you reach out to your mortgage company and ask that question? That way we can kind of get a plan on it. And your mailing address and, and all that, your important paperwork.
Yes.
Then we come back to the table and maybe we could discuss to change it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that'd be my recommendation.
so let me just be clear, we go to 911, as a family and
Right.
ask them, could
Right.
they keep it?
Wilson slash,
Okay,
So, Mr. Keith, are you the person in the area?
I'm police
Can
juryman
you
over there.
tell us what happened? Like, how did this happen?
I don't know how this come about, to tell you the
Okay.
truth.
okay.
'Cause they told us to, 911 told us to contact you, but I never just
Well,
contacted you about it too. So we
ba-
can't-
basically, my knowledge on it is we were contacted about this. And, the only people that came up here at the previous meeting all lived down there on that road. They wanted the name changed due to the fact that 911 has it listed in that name. The mail service has it listed in that name. Nothing had it listed as Wilson Road, other than maybe an old map or something. And it's like I said at that meeting, I went down that road 25 years ago or so when I was working with the state. And I don't know, drove in there for two miles, so and finally found a house down there, a couple and stuff, where people were actually living in. I went down there the other day, and I never could even find the houses. There's so many roads going off of it now, the oil field roads and stuff. so
Because it's 88 acres of
developed in
ours.
there and stuff.
Yes, sir.
And so, at that time, I knew nothing about y'all's concerns.
Yes, sir.
And the people came up here and made their presentation to us, and we decided,
Yes.
with everything already being listed under the name that we're using now, that's what we would do. Now, if y'all can come up with something else, we'll try to work something out, like Mr. Ross said. I'm sure we can get everybody to agree on this.
Okay.
Well, they're not wanting to have to change all their stuff,
Yeah, that's fine.
because it messes up their mail and stuff to have to change stuff. And I don't know if any of y'all live there or not, but,
That's the address.
on that particular road, But we will try to work with both parties involved in it.
right.
Okay.
and
Okay.
get a solution
Thank
to
you.
this.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Yes. Okay, I have one more, public comment. The DeSoto Parish Airport and staff did a wonderful job on the air balloon on yesterday. And I would just like to give them an ovation stand. Good job. I know Miss Jack is not here, but all the employees did a great job. Thank y'all. President report, none. Council report.
I have a short report. I wanted to advise the DeSoto Parish Police Jury that a few months ago that I was contacted by the company that had acquired the Biomethane Partners Group. And they had asked that the contract that the DeSoto Parish Police Jury enter into or had entered into with biomethane be revised to be, I'd say, more consistent with the acquiring company's contractual language. Overall, I thought it was to the jury's disadvantage, the contract terms that they had requested. They also were requesting some modifications in the insurance coverage, which I thought would be inappropriate because it was leased out with the bid documents with the specifications of the insurance that ultimately ended up in the contract. After numerous conversations about some of my concerns, some of which I felt very strongly DeSoto Parish Police Jury could not legally enter into, we had a conference call and they said they were going to work on the language and send it back to me, but they have elected not to. So we're leaving it as is, I believe. But I had been waiting to give you a report till I got the new proposed language from them, but it hasn't happened. And as this afternoon, I received a call from Paul Manley, who you remember, those that were here, was her main point of contact with the old biomethane partner group. And he indicated to me, just by pure coincidence, I was given this report anyway, but he happened to contact me today, that he thought that it was essentially dead in the water and that everybody was satisfied with leaving the contract as it was.
Thank you, Council. Administrative report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1, new software. We've gone live for one of the new modules in the centralized software for the jury. As a reminder to the jury, you voted for us to update our software that will consolidate the systems from each of the agencies in one central program. The AP system has gone live. The other systems will be brought online as soon as finance has worked through some of the issues between our multiple offices in the new program. We just appreciate your patience with that. Item 2, update on the fire at the Road Barn. As you may recall, we had a fire at the Road Barn on May 28th, 2024, which burned up 3 dump trucks and an asphalt tack truck. At around 5:18 a.m. that morning, the fire department was contacted by employees at the Road Barn. After visual inspections of the scene by Fire District 8, the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, and the DeSoto Parish Sheriff's Office, and a visual review of the video obtained of the fire, it was determined that the fire started around 1:30 a.m. that same morning from the rear cab of one of the dump trucks. Insurance has been contacted, claims have been filed. Most of the burned up debris has been picked up by the insurance company. The 4 vehicles are a total loss. We are currently waiting on a payout for the value of the loss. I have no update on when we will receive that from the insurance company, but as soon as I do get an update, I will let y'all know what that amount is. This was determined a no-fault situation. That was nothing that could have been avoided. Item 3, workers' comp audit credit. Finance has informed me that the jury will be receiving a $20,000, $411 credit to our workman's compensation rating. To my knowledge, this is the first time we have received this credit. In the past, each year, the jury has had to pay additional amounts after each audit done for the workman's comp program. We are now with LUBA Workman's Comp. Item 4, the new website. If you would focus your attention on your monitors to the television screens, this office has been working on a redesign of the jury's new website. Donald is going through just a few of the screens of which the new design will look like. As you can see, we're sticking with the same color scheme as that matches the jury's current logo. Also, we'll be providing a link to all the DeSoto agencies. For example, your fire departments, EMS, tax assessor, clerk of courts, etc., just to name a few. This is part of one of the approved budget items that y'all gave us. Thank you, Donald. Item 5, renovations of the courthouse. Renovations at the courthouse are progressing nicely. The painters have completed their work in the main courtroom, the stairwells, and some of the basement touch-up work. They have moved to the exterior of the building where they will be focusing on sanding, repairing, and repainting the exterior of the building. This will include some minor landscaping on the front of the building where some older shrubbery is being replaced. Item 6, the parking lot status. As you can see, history is being made. The parking lot is finally getting repaved. We have a slab. We've done a lot of work between the jury office and the sheriff's office. They're progressing. They have completed the main concrete pour for the parking lot. If we have favorable weather conditions, the whole project should be completed by the first week in August. Item 7, the tax commission update. This last fiscal year with the DeSoto Parish Tax Commission resulted in the collection costs coming in at around 0.84% of our total collections, or approximately $124,000. The jury received for its 1% sales tax parish-wide $14,742.63. This 1% is currently broken out between 4 funds. They are 0.5% for the road department, 15% for the solid waste, 10% for the jail, and 25% for the library systems. Those are 1/2, 15, 10, and 25 of 1%. Item 8, the Parish Transportation Road Martinez-Delton project. There's been a requested change to the PTF list. Ms. Jerry has requested that the Martinez-Delton work cease and desist. Final plans had been completed and ready to bid. However, due to no action taken by the road committee related to adopting the Martinez into our parish system, work on this project will be suspended until further direction can be given by the road committee. That is going to be on the road committee's list in August because we took no action. Item 9, the debris removal program update. As you will see, we've received 2 bids on the debris removal program. We got those, I believe last week, was it? Friday, that's right, Friday. Once approved by the jury, I will be meeting with the debris monitoring company and the debris removal company to coordinate when the program will begin. I'm calling a meeting for tomorrow morning with them so we can adopt a strategy to move forward and to focus on the areas that were mostly affected by the storms. I'll keep the jury posted as to our progress. Item 10, local participation by community partners. Last week, Chesapeake contacted me and requested if they could provide some resources to help the community. Chesapeake graciously provided 6 pallets of bottled water and 2 pallets of Gatorade to be distributed to the community. We received those resources at the road barn, and then we distribute them accordingly with the assistance of the Sheriff's Department. And that's what I have to report. Does anybody have any specific questions?
I have a question. Item number 5, renovation of the courthouse.
Yes, sir.
Those are just renovations that we had approved.
Yes, sir.
But our new clerk of court, she's doing renovations to the courthouse also, right?
She has not started any renovations herself. No, sir.
She hasn't discussed any plans of doing any?
She and I did sit down and have a meeting, and I've asked her to give me an itemized list of what she wants. When I have that, I will definitely bring it to y'all.
Okay. Because I talked to her recently, and she told me about a lot of renovations she had planned on doing. But I think it'd be a good idea for her to come in here and explain to everybody what she plans to do, and also to let everybody know what her plans are as far as her office. I do know that she told me that her plans are to move all records back to the courthouse and do away with the leasing Capital One building down there, which will be a savings to the taxpayers of about $50,000 a year.
Correct.
So she's doing a lot, but I think she needs to come in here and let everybody know that so people will know what's going on.
I believe she has planned on doing that, Jimmy. It's just a matter of her, she's kind of treading water from what I understand right now because low staff, she had a
Yeah,
lot of
we need to let her get her
resignations.
feet on the
Yes, sir.
ground. I understand that, but I think it'd be nice because it sounds like she's making good improvements
Yes,
to
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
Also, item number 8, the Parish Transportation Road, Martinez Delton. You mentioned, did Ms. Burrell want her money that was gonna be used on that road put somewhere else? Is that what?
She did verbally ask us to do that, but in order to modify the PTF list, that has to be approved by the jury. Y'all do that each time. So if we're gonna change Martinez Delton, specifically because we've spent approximately $23,000, give or take $100 on this project already, that's why that needs to go before the jury. We're already into that, and we need the jury's guidance on that through the road committee. So, I just want to make sure y'all are aware of that, you know. If it were not part of the PTF road funds, it would not, I don't think it would have to go back to the jury, especially if we have a pot of money. But in this case, that dedicated revenue, y'all are supposed to adopt it every 3 to 4 years to get that money from the state.
That's it.
Any other questions?
You done, Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The lobbyist report, Mr. Chance.
Good afternoon, members of the jury. Chance McNeely.
Hello.
Good to be with y'all. I know I haven't been here in a couple months. I had a couple conflicts. Well, one of them was at the very end of session, which is a busy time. And then last month I was working on the Global Seamless project, had a kind of an emergency DEQ meeting. I am pleased to report that that went well and that they got what they needed out of the Department of Environmental Quality. So things are progressing well on that front. I know my report is pretty similar to what I had prepared for the last meeting, and I know y'all probably talked about it briefly, but the big takeaway from the legislative session was that the jury came away with $8 million in cash for roads in the parish. That is, at least in my humble opinion, a pretty big victory for the jury since we pulled the public records request last year at y'all's request. I think the jury had only ever received like $1 million since 2002 or so, is how far we look back. And so that's a pretty huge increase from what we historically have received. That is due in very large part to Senator Thomas Presley. He's on the Senate Finance Committee, and I can just tell you that he worked really hard in order on behalf of the parish to try to get that money. So if you see Thomas, I would say, give him a attaboy, because as you know, as all public officials know, everybody's pulling on you for their piece of the pie, and so he really stood up and fought for DeSoto Parish. So I want to just publicly thank him for his work in that regard. That is in addition to the $1.6 million that then Senator Milligan got. So we have a total of $9.6 million cash that is there from the past 2 sessions. And then the rest, there's, I think, about $25 million in Priority 5. Priority 5, as I've talked to y'all about before, is not real money, but it is an expression of the legislature's intent to further fund the item. One of the things that we talked about, and just not to get too much in the weeds, but the reason that y'all haven't secured the $1.6 million and been able to spend it yet from the previous session is because the state looked at the total cost of your 5-year state parish-wide program, and they said, okay, great, they gave you $1.6 million, but you've still got 30-something million more dollars over here. And so if you think about it from the lens of most of these projects are buildings, If there's cash given, the state's not going to start spending money when it has a tiny portion of a building cost. That's the way that this was all set up. So that all being said, I've talked to the Division of Administration. They now understand that this is different and that each of these, the total cost of y'all's parish-wide program is a bunch of roads that each have independent utility. So if y'all get, as an example, $1.6 million that you can complete one of the projects with, they're now comfortable doing that, as opposed to saying, well, we can't give you the money until we have the whole pot. Does that make sense? So long story short, the $9.6 million, I fully expect that we'll get a executed cooperative endeavor agreement in short order this year, and so that y'all can actually spend those dollars. We need to spend those dollars because when the legislature, it's dysfunction between the two branches, right? The legislature gives you cash, but then the state's like, well, they didn't give you enough, so you can't have it. And so trying to line all those ducks up, and I think we're pretty much there. So that is something I added to the report from last year. Does that make sense? Confusing? Basically, there's a process with the state that we have to work out to get the money. So, let's see. So, that we did have a bill. So Thomas Presley had filed a bill that would have kind of created a recurring revenue stream. That bill got out of committee, but basically, stopped moving forward. And part of that is that, you didn't really have enough votes to affect the general fund on a recurring basis like that forever. And so part of the negotiation that took place was that bill got parked, but we got, one-time money, which means we have to continue to seek additional, funding every year. I will tell you that the Secretary of the Department of Revenue appeared before the Joint Ways and Means and Rev and Fisc Committee last week and really called for a special session on taxation. And as part of his rhetoric, he appeared before the committee for quite a while. He actually brought up the severance tax and said that he recommended that a larger portion of the severance tax get to stay with the local government entities. So that rhetoric coming from the head of the tax department is a positive, development as well. There are, people that want to have a special session in August to do taxes. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not super optimistic that will happen. And there's still talk of a constitutional convention as well. So those, there's talks of a special tax session and a constitutional convention session. If either of those did occur, the severance tax issue that the parish faces, it would be germane to try and address those issues. So if we do have a special session of some kind, we'll be there advocating for a long-term solution to the severance tax problem. Other than that, there were a few towns in the area that got funding. Logansport got some funding. Mansfield received P5 funding. Stonewall, and Mansfield got a little bit of road improvement money along with Stanley. But those are small in comparison to what the jury got. And then relative to other legislation, I mentioned that the Presley bill failed to pass, solving the severance tax problem. The expropriation bill by Seaball that had to do with the Highline project, that bill did pass and was signed into law. So that Highline company, and I don't know the exact effects of that bill, but basically they can't use state expropriation authority for that Highline project anymore. And then the bill by Representative Bagley that let the registrar of voters, you could have an additional employee. That bill did pass and was signed into law. And so I think that concludes my update. Are there any questions about any of that?
Any questions?
I have a question, but not about any of this. There was a bill, and I think it passed, honestly, I think it was a House bill that requires elected officials to attend training classes. Who's gonna pay for that?
So I'm familiar with that bill. I think it was by Representative Larvadane. Let me pull it up and look
Sounds
at
familiar.
it. He's from Alexandria. Let me look and see real quick. But if I had to guess, the answer would be you, the jury.
It's so funny how they can pass bills down there, and then it passes the cost on to us. You know, they passed the thing, putting it on the law, putting it on the constitutional amendment to give first responders,
Supplemental pay.
additional exemption, homestead exemption.
Oh, that's
You
right.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's
Sorry.
so easy for them to pass bills like this and stick their chest out and see what I did, but it's not the state's not paying for it. We're paying for that, you know? And who all is gonna be required to take these classes? It said elected officials. That could be a number of people in our parish. School board officials, sheriffs, constables, justice of the peaces, you know? And we're gonna have to pay for all that? You know, that's not right. That's not right that they're down there passing bills that's costing us money. And it sounds like to me, in that bill there, you're kind of putting the cart before the horse. If there's training required for elected officials, they need to do the training before they run for office and get to be an elected official. If they're not qualified to be an elected official, they shouldn't have been qualified to run,
Yeah.
you know?
So I appreciate that, and I don't want to say anything that's not correct, but I do feel confident in saying that most likely the Municipal Association and the Police Jury Association supported those bills.
Well, I'm sure they did,
And they're
yes.
also likely the entities that would charge for the courses or provide the training, you know. And so that's that would be y'all's association, of course. The other thing I would say is that oftentimes what happens is there are always going to be examples of particularly small local government entities that are just defunct, right? And so you have a whole effort to try to figure out what are we going to do with these small villages and towns, and there's discussions in some places of merging parishes because they don't have the resources. And so I would think a lot of it comes from some of the dysfunction that occurs at that more smaller entity level, where you have to have the state come in and take over the finances of a small town. I mean, those things happen on a recurring basis. That's probably where some of this came from, but ultimately it would have had the support of y'all's trade association, for lack of a better term.
Do we know when our association is supporting certain bills? Do they send us information on that, Michael, as far as that?
I mean,
Typically, they provide us a favorable or unfavorable or neutral position on bills. And, I mean, that comes from, I think, Chance will provide that. But there's a lot of bills.
Oh, I
And
understand
those are
that.
provided, yes, those are passed on to y'all. Yes.
but they function, all trade associations are the same, whether they be for government or any industry. They have a committee of folks. There's a legislative committee in every trade association, and that's a small subset of the membership that assess all the bills, and they vote, and then the board generally approves the recommendation, right? And so I suspect that process occurred with those entities, you know. But generally speaking, as it relates to the work of our firm, we generally engage on issues that are specific to this jury. If it's a statewide thing that affects all juries, generally we would give deference to the association, right?
I understand that.
But I understand your point, and y'all almost certainly would be the folks who have to pay for it.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. So,
Jimmy, I can get more information regarding that bill and what's going to be required of the police jury. I'll get that to y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, Mr. Chance? No, thank you for your time, Mr. Chance.
thank y'all.
No.
Pick it up. Treasurer, financial report.
Good evening. Before I start going over the financials, I just wanted to give you a notice of the auction. Got a check in the last week for that, so we collected about $104,000 from that auction. That money will be reflected in the financials in July. And going into the financial reports, your general fund, we received $6.2 million in revenues, while our expenses are at $4.3 million. The sale of the assets that you see reflected on the general fund for this month, the $50,000, that is for the sale of the property to the sheriff. It is in the general fund for now because that is where the asset was listed, so I had to put the money in there, and a transfer will be done in July to transfer that over to the jail. The overall fund balance for expenditures is at 35.8%. The road fund, we received $10 million in revenues. We continually see a decrease in the sales tax revenues, about approximately 10% below projections. Like we've been saying, that decrease comes from the oil and gas industry. Public works expenditures are right on target, while the capital outlay is at 8%. You will see that increase in here in the next few months. We just had a bid that for a construction of one of the road projects, so we'll start seeing some expenses on that capital outlay. The overall fund is at 26% for the total expenditures. Witness and jurors, revenues are at 53%, while expenses are at 17%. The jail fund collected sales tax in the amount of $705,570. That includes the interest earnings, and like stated before, a 10% decrease in the projected amounts. Operational expenses are at 41%. No activity on the correctional facility fund. The solid waste, we received $9.9 million in revenues, 10% less on the sales tax collection. Tipping fees are right on target at 49%. The landfill operations expenses are at 50%, and the compactor sites are at 47%. Criminal court fund, we received $344,906 in revenue, and expenses are at $241,580, a net change of $103,325. Keep in mind, we do have some invoices for that TAP reimbursement that we have not paid out. Office of Community Services, revenues are at 46%, while the expenses are at 49%. We are waiting on reimbursement from the weatherization program for May in the amount of $70,000. Airport fund, the revenues are at 43%, while the expenses are at 40%. Rental assistance, revenues at 53%, and expenses at 50%. E-sewer, $24,839.92 in expenditures. Like I stated before, we're working through finalizing, closing out that fund at the end of the year. Animal services, there was no increase in revenue from the prior month. Expenses are at 50% for the operations, and the overall expenditures are at 59%. The sinking fund, the interest in that bank account is $25,373 as of the end of June 2024. Does anybody have questions?
Question for Ms. Lilly? Thank you, Finance Department. Keep up the good work, please.
I make a motion to accept the financial statement.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Parker. Any discussion? There's no discussion on the financial report. Please vote. Motion passes. Approval of minutes. Approve June 17th, 2024, regular meeting, special meeting July the 1st, 2024, administrative, budget and finance, solid waste, road and airport committee meeting, July the 1st, 2024, special meeting. Do I have the motion?
Oh, no.
Got a motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Clark. Any discussions? If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Old business, recommend awarding low bid for weatherization electrical labor. I have a motion.
So move.
A motion by Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Holmes. Any discussion? There's no discussion about the electrical labor on weatherization. Please vote. Motion passes. Next item on old business, accept the request for proposal for debris removal. And this debris removal is considered from the storms.
So
I
moved.
have a motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Holmes. Any discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Next item on old business, authorize the parish administrator to negotiate and purchase 48.237 acres on east side of Highway 171, Parish Road 682, as it reads on attachment appraisal in the town of Stonewall from DeSoto Land Holding LLC for $440,000 for construction in a new compactor site pending the approval from the towns of Stonewall Planning and Zoning Commission and the town's Stonewall Council.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Clark,
Second.
second by Mr. Baker. Discussion,
How much you say the cost was gonna be?
$440,000. And it is in our range of budget, where we budget for property for compactor sites. Any more discussion?
Is this what we have the paperwork on here, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, the appraisal.
Well, I gave you the full appraisal and a copy of the map. Each of y'all have the copy of the map that's currently on the screens, showing it shows 47 plus or minus, but it's approximately 48.237 acres.
What's this I'm reading right here? It says 387,000.
That's the appraised value. The landowner's asking 440,000.
So a little less $60,000 above the appraisal value, huh?
Roughly.
Okay.
There's no more question, please vote.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
The elevation of this land, is it suitable for, we only need a few acres, so the other can develop for other projects that we may have. The elevation, is it up high enough to where we don't have to worry about flooding and that sort of stuff?
The only sections that we're aware of that's floods frequently is on the front. You see there's a creek that goes right in the front,
On the entrance.
on the entrance, front end of that property. Nothing else is in a flood zone, so it's above flood zone elevations. I can't tell you that it doesn't flood, but I can tell you it's above the flood zone elevations. Yes, sir.
But it's not, basically, we won't have to go in there and build it up 3 or 4 foot to put anything in there.
I don't know if we will or not, Mr. Parker, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say that with 100% confidence. But I went out there and looked at it. Mr. Reister and I both went out there and looked at it. And it was not wet at that time. And this was not long after we've had substantial rain. So You know, I suspect if you develop this future project into some sort of industrial park, you may have to do, put some material in it, build sections of it up. I can't tell you wouldn't, so.
Did you, look at what part that we would be able to use for the compactor site? As far as I see right here in this corner here is an area, but I didn't know if that's big enough for a compactor site, or we're gonna have to move back into the area further, or?
There is room at that initial location.
Like
Yes, sir. I think you.
between the boundary line right there and that highlight?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That would be adequate. We'd have to see what the restrictions are on that high line and so forth and nail that down. But that would be adequate space there. There is a home just behind that, so that'd be one consideration.
There's quite a bit of current vegetation up in that area as well. I mean, I can tell you that with confidence, this still has to go through the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Town of Stonewall's Council, which gives us ample time to make sure we check all those boxes. I'm not gonna purchase any land without making sure we've checked all those boxes.
Any more discussion? Not, please vote. Motion passes. New business. Authorize the president to sign a resolution moving pooling location from Carmel Catholic Church to Living Word Church in Mansfield, serving the precincts number 26 and 26A. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Clark. Discussion.
What's the purpose of this?
The Carmel Catholic Church don't want to do it anymore at their church.
Okay.
And from this church to the other church, approximately what, about 2 miles, I believe?
You mean the Baptist church?
Yes, sir. No,
No,
the Catholic,
No,
Carmel,
the Carmel Catholic Church.
Carmel Catholic Church.
509.
don't want it.
Oh, moving to Living Word.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
And just moving it up the road, probably a mile and a half, 2 miles. Bigger, larger church, better parking also. That's why. There's no more discussion, please vote. And we want to get this done right away so we can get the word out to everyone in that area, plan enough time. Motion passes. Resolution, recommend authorize the president to sign a resolution for Beta Land Service LLC requesting that DeSoto Parish Police Jury place a sealed bid with the Louisiana Department of Natural Resources. All of the mineral rights owned by DeSoto Parish Police Jury name the streets, alleys, and roadways of Police Jury owned in Section 15, Townships 12 North, Range 13 West, being more specified description as Armour Street, Oak Street, Brown Street, Maclock Street, Gabe Street, Circle Drive, Robert Street, Pine Street, Elm Drive, Matilda Street, the undeveloped street in Hollywood Addition, all portion of Gibb Street, Shallowhorn Street, South Norris Street, East Mary Street, Maplewood Drive, Patty Street, located outside the corporation limits of the city of Mansfield, and alleys located in Brown Park subdivision, Brown subdivision, and Jefferson Highway subdivision. We'll have a motion.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
second by Mr. Baker. Discussion? There's no discussion. Would you please vote? Motion passes. Next resolution, authorize the president to sign a resolution approving and holding an election in Fire Protection District Number 3 of Parish of DeSoto, State of Louisiana on Saturday, December the 7th, 2024, to authorize renewal of a special tax and the renewal of a service charge therein.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Holmes. Up for discussion? There's no discussion. Would you please vote on this item? Motion passes. Next item, next resolution, recommend adopting the 2024 millage rates.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Parker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Baker and Mr. Holmes. Up for discussion? There's no discussions on the millage rates. Would you please vote? Yes, ma'am. Mr.
Parker.
Mr. Parker, Mr. Baker, and Mr. Holmes, second. And would you please vote? It's up on the screen.
And the millage rate on the landfill tax will drop next year.
Yes, sir, per the election that y'all called, to renew it at 5 mils.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Administrative item.
Administrative items, number 12, recommends reappointing Bruce Carroll, David Caston, Dennis Reed to the Ambulance EMS District Board for a 6-year term.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Parker. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Airport item.
Recommends authorizing the president to sign a master service agreement, MSA, with KSA as a consulting engineer for the airport.
So
Have a
moved.
motion. Who made the motion? Mr. Baker made the motion. Have a second.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark, second. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance recommends reappropriating $680,000 from the Solid Waste Capital Outlay Cell 10 construction. That was proposed to be $8 million, but it's less than that. To Solid Waste Capital Outlay Equipment to purchase one 740 articulated truck.
So moved.
Make a motion. Second.
Mr. Parker made the motion. Mr. Holmes, second. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Recommends amending the Registrar of Voters salary budget in the amount of $3,437.80 to cover the salary expense for the remainder of 2024 for extra employee granted by House Bill 89, Act 596.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Clark,
Second.
second by Mr. Lathan. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Road item. Mr. Holmes.
Oh, okay, Mr. Jones not here. Recommends authorizing the renaming of Wilson Road, AKA Nealon Private Drive, as the Nealon Drive.
I'd like to make an alternate motion.
All right, Mr. Clark, alternate motion.
Defer till all parties can agree on the road name.
Okay, got a second?
Second.
Could I request, define all parties? Does that mean every member, every person living on that road? Because it affects every single one of them.
Yes.
And if we do change
All who
it,
lived on the road.
okay. Okay, I mean, I'm good with that. I just
They
wanna
gotta
make
come
sure.
to a majority.
Yeah,
majority
yeah, I
decision.
mean, I'd say that's gonna have to be a supermajority. If you're affecting everyone's mortgage, you're affecting everyone's mailing address.
Insurance.
When the history has been, and I'll just recap it real quick, this was brought to our attention when the jury started deploying their private sign drives. That's why it was changed from Wilson Road. After researching the minutes, it was determined in 2002, it was changed from Wilson Drive to Nealon Private Drive, but it was not declared a private road. We continue to maintain it. It's always been a jury road. And the compromise was to change that to Nealon Drive for the sake of 911 and for the sake of their mailing addresses and their mortgages. So if we do this and we go back to Wilson Road, we need to make sure it's a Wilson Road that's separate, because I think we have more than one Wilson Road in the parish, or is it a Wilson Street that would conflict? I think there's a conflict there. I just want.
Wilson Road, west of Grand Cane on
Right,
3015.
so if you have Wilson Roads, and this is why I believe the jury took action on this in 2002 at the behest of 911, where are they gonna dispatch an ambulance when someone gets sick, you know?
Well-
So, I just wanna make sure we have all that on the record for y'all, for your consideration, so.
Well, my recommendation was to use both names, Wilson / Nealon Road. I don't think we have that in the system.
Again, if it affects their mortgage.
Right.
When you change their mortgage, Jennifer can maybe correct me on this, if you make any changes like that to their mortgages, you're gonna talk about refiling fees, and I don't know. I just want all that out there for all the jury. I'm neither for this or against this, I'm just giving y'all all the information, so.
I mean, I just want to allow them time to get their things, lined out, talk with people, ask questions, and then come back and we make a move on this.
I think they all leave.
How does that affect their mortgage?
Well,
I just don't understand that. Before 911, there wasn't a house, there was not a road in this parish named. When we started naming roads, did everybody's mortgage get affected? I think not.
well, you're talking filing fees, essentially. Landlord, and there's some people who've moved out there recently. I know of one new home, possibly two within the past maybe 5 years. So if they have to change on their deed, if they have to change stuff on their deed, then that's gonna take legal work to do that and filing fees. So I think that's what some of the concern was, that was brought to our attention, so.
And also, you can have more than one named road in the parish as long as they're not in the same, if I'm not correct, I may be wrong, but in the same zip code or whatever. You can't have two in the Keachai zip code, Wilson Road, but you can have a Wilson Road in Grand Cane and you can have a Wilson Road in Stonewall. So you can have more than one Wilson Road in the parish.
I defer to 911 on that, yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so we're back to the alternate motion.
What's the alternate motion?
Yeah, that's what.
I think it was,
A motion to defer until all owners on Nealon Private Drive,
Can agree to a
agree on a name.
That was by Mr. Clark and Mr. Latham.
Yes. Okay, please vote. Motion passes. Next items on roads.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item number 17, recommends authorizing the parish administrator to sign a letter of support for the I-69 connector fiscal year 25 through 26 MPDG application.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Holmes. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Solid waste item.
Solid Waste recommends updating the solid waste disposal fee and environmental fees at the Monday landfill. It's effective January of 2025.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Holmes, second by Mr. Parker. Discussion?
What will be the rate if we adopt it?
Will it be the rate of what?
What will be our rate increases or whatever if we adopt it?
Go, what? Am I reading this right?
Yeah, yes, sir. MSW goes to $40 per ton, up from 33. And we're adopting an environmental fee to cover the additional cost to process leachate, which is $20 per load.
Now, I'm assuming that this is probably running normal with other,
Oh, yes, sir. We're still far cheaper than any other location by a good deal.
Any more discussion? Not, please vote. Motion passes. Motion to adjourn? What?
I had one thing, Michael.
Yes,
You
sir.
mentioned about the parking lot next door and that it was almost finished with. You said it came in how much under budget?
I believe the total was around 130,000, give or take $1,000 or so, and the budget for it was $250,000.
So we came in
Hundred.
120,000 under budget. I think that's
Yes, sir.
good to
Yeah.
be able to mention that also to the public. So, thank you.
we say that was 170
Good evening, everyone. We're adjourned.